Impact Summit here at Bharat Mandapam in New Delhi now draws to a close. We are joined by Mr. Balaraman, Ravindran, Wadhwani School of Data Science and AI at IIT Madras. He's chaired several sessions at the summit, also participated in many high-level discussions at the AI Impact Summit. So from him, we'll try and understand the direction of the conversations, and especially in the sense of understanding what impact will it have on the AI story. Professor Ravindran, thank you for taking our time and speaking to Sansad TV. I understand it's been quite hectic for you, given that you've been central to so many discussions, you've chaired so many panels as well here over the last few days. To begin with, give us and our viewers a sense of how the conversations have shaped up, especially the focus that India wanted it to be in, that we don't just talk about what AI can do, but most importantly, who AI should serve or who should govern AI or who AI should benefit. How successful have we been in shifting the narrative towards some of these aspects?
So, this is the first summit, AI summit, that's happening in the Global South. Right? So India, from the very beginning, has been very clear that the conversation should be about the impact of AI on the Global South and how to get the Global South to get a seat at the table to talk about AI governance, right? And as well as get the world to talk about the risks that are pertinent to the people in the Global South. Right? So this conversation, even though has been happening, has largely been between countries which are in the global north, which don't have a real first-hand experience of what it means, for the challenges that we face in the global south. Right? So I think India has taken the leadership in this, and we have done a great job. And if you look at the Frontier Model Declaration, right, that came out yesterday, to which almost all the major AI companies, both outside India and in India, have signed on. Right? So that specifically talks about context-aware evaluation, multilingual, AI models, building multilingual AI models, and looking at AI evaluation and deployment in the context in which they are going to happen. That would mean that the focus has to happen on the global south. Right? I think that's a great step forward, and it's more important for the big tech players to agree to this kind of a commitment, rather than just this global south country saying that we need more involvement. Because unless the guys who actually control the AI power now are willing to include the others in the conversation, the rest of us clamoring to say we want to be included in the conversation wouldn't have that much of an impact. And I think we have succeeded largely, enormously actually, in getting that started at the Impact Summit. So I'm very happy about the outcomes.
So what has been the response from the global players? You said that there have been multiple startups at the expo. We've seen the kind of work they're doing.
One of the things, I'm sorry for cutting you short, but one of the things that has been really, even for me, the response, I didn't expect it, the wildest dreams. The kind of enthusiasm we are seeing from people, from the general public, right? So we know that, there's a lot of interest in AI in India, but the kind of products that people are putting on display and the kind of enthusiasm, people literally breaking down doors. Right? I'm not talking about figuratively, I'm talking about literally, like pushing against doors and opening them and coming into sessions to listen to people. And this is unthinkable for me, right? So this is amazing. Right? And I've been talking to some people, some of the top folks. They are completely blindsided. They never expected this kind of response in India, right? And it's just not. And what was really remarkable is that the prevailing attitude or prevailing sentiment towards AI is so positive among the youngsters. So even though here conversations about job loss and other things, but what you are seeing here is that most of the people that we have been running into, especially the younger lot, right? We'll leave aside the older people for the time being, but the younger lot are so enthusiastic about the opportunities that AI has opened up for them, right? So it is not that they are worried about whether AI is going to take away the jobs, AI is going to take over humankind or anything. They are really looking at AI as a partner, which they can use for uplifting themselves, uplifting the nation, creating new value, creating new ideas, and so on and so forth. And I think this enthusiasm is something that the major companies did not really expect. Right? And literally wherever they have been going on for this very large scale, public engagement, there's always been some kind of a pushback on it. Right? But
That's right.
Here the enthusiasm is so much. Right? I think we will see more engagement from them with India going forward.
I think that's where the next question comes in, that given the excitement, the enthusiasm, the participation, most importantly looking at AI not as a potential danger but as a huge opportunity that comes before our youngsters, the next big question is, how do we translate all of this into some kind of tangible outcomes, and most importantly from policy to research to startups to government, all stakeholders coming together to strengthen India's AI ecosystem?
So I think the government has the right ideas, right? So there's a lot of investment that's needed in AI, right? So you have to invest in compute, you have to invest in skilling, talent development, and all of this has to happen. Right? Now we need to get the execution right. So we are not investing enough, right? And even the money that is being given to us, we are not investing it effectively, broadly, and making sure we take it out to the intended audience, and we are not seeing enough of an impact right away, right, on the market. So I think we need to significantly expand the personnel who are involved in managing these AI policies for us, and we need to get our our governance frameworks in place. So we have the governance guidelines, but we need to start implementing some of it. But more importantly, so we should be a lot more, what should I say? We should have a lot more receptive environment for the people who are willing to take risks for building AI. So we should provide all the support that we can to the startups that want to push in new directions. It's not that we should be only supporting startups that can give us value in 6 months. That is a surefire way of misdirecting this enthusiasm about AI.
So you are one of the most prominent voices in the AI growth story today. What kind of progress do you think we should be making in the next few years to capitalize on the opportunity and the potential that we have?
So we should strongly build our foundational AI capacity. Notice, I didn't say foundation model. I said foundational AI capacity, right? Because we need people who can do AI research from scratch, right? So build things that are not just a delta extension of what has been done or a wrapper around existing models, but actually deeply think about, okay, what is needed to ensure that every farmer has access to appropriate AI solutions for them, right? It's not just a question of building the algorithms. It could be a question of building devices. It could be a question of actually doing the hardware that is right for AI models, right? So there are so much around this AI ecosystem that we need to build. So if just focusing on building models alone would potentially give us short-term gains, but that is not a race I think we can win without starting to focus on the rest of the ecosystem.
The other big focus that India has had on AI is not just to make AI more inclusive, but also responsible use of AI. So and since you were part of those sessions, how central were aspects like say transparency or responsible use of AI, especially in the Indian context, which is so diverse, which has so much potential, but we also have to build effective guardrails.
So I head a Center for Responsible AI at IIT Madras, right? So we have been working on these issues for several years now, and it is not true just for India. So see, if you want the larger community to engage, right? So we should also identify issues that have a larger impact, and I believe this notion of building responsible solutions, both in terms of figuring out what should be the appropriate evaluation benchmarks, what should be the data sets that we should be using to build these models, what are the caveats, what are the safeguards we should build, right? And so on and so forth. This is something that we should work with the Global South community. And that is happening. So a lot of that impact could be felt. There are several collaborative agreements, collaborative networks that are being launched at the summit that allow us to think about this trustworthy, safe, development of AI across multiple geographies. So India, as part of the working groups, right, the Safe and Trusted AI working group, we have agreed to set up a trustworthy AI commons, which is essentially a set of tools that people can use to build safe and trusted AI solutions for the global south. And this is not something that we will build all on our own. We will actually create a platform where everybody can contribute their tools, and that can be used for building applications.
So, Professor, as we move towards strengthening a safe and trusted AI ecosystem, what are some of the non-negotiables in India's AI roadmap? And I ask you this, I relate it to our FTAs. So when we were signing FTAs and negotiating with countries, there were certain no-go areas or red zones that we had flagged for ourselves. Do we have similar guardrails, non-negotiables in the AI context?
I think a lot of the discussions around non-negotiables, right, or on data. So we really don't want Indian data to leave the shores of India, right? So it should be processed within India on Indian hardware, right? Preferably by Indian models, right? But what is happening now is a lot of companies are rushing in because they see the amount of data we have as a gold mine. So a lot of companies are rushing in to set up these data centers and things like that in India, so that they can kind of take advantage of the Indian data while still staying in India. So fine, I'm happy. A lot of investment is coming to India, but I would still feel that we should think about Indian models as well, not just Indian compute and data being located within India. We should see if we can get Indian models to do that. That should be one non-negotiable, that the data doesn't leave Indian shores.
One last question for the youngsters who participated, but those who couldn't, they're in different cities and watching you. How do you see the AI ecosystem evolve in the next 2 to 3 years, given that India has two major advantages, demographic dividend and the world's third largest startup ecosystem? So these are foundations. How do you see us building a stronger base?
We have the advantage. We have the advantage, but we have to be careful to encash the advantage in some sense, right? So we have to make sure that the students are getting the appropriate training, getting the appropriate skilling, and so that they can now then come and join our innovation ecosystem, right? So the startup ecosystem. So I just saying that we have the demographic dividend is not going to be enough. So having said that, I also have to say that the current youngsters seem very capable of looking after themselves, at least in the cities, right? It's not that they are waiting for the education system to catch up to train them well or something like that. They're going out and finding things and training themselves on their work. But then this would mean that the demographic dividend will pay out only in the cities and not in rural India. And we should be very careful in making sure we include them also in the payout.
Absolutely. We need to make sure that this technology doesn't create that kind of inequality. Professor, thank you so much for taking our time despite your hectic schedule and speaking to Sansad TV. Appreciate you joining us. Thank you so much.
To watch more programs of Sansad TV, subscribe to our YouTube channel and don't forget to like and share them.